Despite my several videos exposing stereo speaker systems, or at least traditional ones not employing sophisticated crosstalk cancellation algorithms such as what's utilized in Bach DSP, we have people like thewas on AudioScienceReview who think they're so smart and have dedicated their entire lives to promoting speakers based on measurements of a single speaker and think that their stereo speaker system is good when in reality it is pure dog shit. So let's read what he said. One of his problems is that, like usually with people shouting loud, he misses even the basics. For example, 9 days ago, he uploads a video with the title "Speaker Measurements Don't Matter." Then he argues that speaker playback creates acoustic comb filtering, interference dips, and frequency response because sound from the right speaker hits the left ear slightly later than sound from the left speaker. He concludes that because of this interference, speaker measurements are pointless and mono listening is the only true high-res experience. Human brain and auditory system utilize binaural hearing. Our brains are highly adapted to process acoustic differences between ears to localize sound in 3D space, known as HRTF. The human auditory system does not perceive acoustic comb filtering from stereo speakers as a distorted, low-fidelity mess. Instead, our brain smooths these comb filtering notches out psychoacoustically because the two ears sample the sound field at two different points in space. This prevents us from hearing the interference as a tonal coloration, allowing us to instead perceive a spacious stereo image, the phantom center and lateral soundstage. Therefore, speaker measurements like on-axis response and directivity absolutely do matter because a speaker with smooth directivity ensures that the reflections bouncing around the room match the direct sound, allowing our binaural hearing system to accurately separate the speaker's true tonality from the room's acoustics. This pattern, unfortunately, has been repeated on many of his bold claims, which tend to impress people who are new to these topics. And before I debunk him, let's continue on some of the other things he said. You're missing how binaural hearing works. A microphone sums signals acoustically at a signal point, creating severe comb filtering. Human ears are separated by a head. They do not sum the acoustic signals the same way. Dr. Floyd Toole's extensive research proves that the human brain actively separates the localized phantom center from the acoustic interference. The brain doesn't just try to smooth it out. It completely decouples the tonality from the spatial location. This is why a phantom center channel does not sound like a comb-filtered mess with massive high-frequency dips. It sounds totally balanced. While a physical center channel does provide a more stable acoustic anchor, especially for listeners sitting off axis, using 3 channels still creates interchannel interference between the center left and center right pairs. Ultimately, speaker directivity and measurements matter because of how our brain processes these complex acoustic fields. If measurements didn't matter, good speakers wouldn't consistently win in double-blind listening tests in stereo. It's really ridiculous because these people like thewas who think they're so smart. I mean, thewas is such a corny name. I was. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. You're literally sitting here masquerading as Dr. Floyd Toole when you're literally some casual who just promotes speakers based on their measurements of a single speaker. You're just a complete idiot. So let's actually look at some data from Dr. Floyd Toole. So on the left, we have sound quality ratings of single speakers. So a Rega speaker, a KEF speaker, and a quad speaker. And we can see that in mono, the ratings are very different, with the quad speaker being rated much lower, presumably because the on-axis response and directivity were quite poor. But when it came to listening to these speakers in stereo, the sound quality of the quad speaker was really similar to the Rega and KEF speakers, despite the quad speaker measuring really bad. Even in the stereophonic sound quality listening test, you look at these individual sample points, most of them are really well in line with the Rega and KEF speaker, despite there being a drastic difference in the average sound quality rating in mono. And I don't know why this guy is masquerading as Floyd Toole when we can just look up Floyd Toole's messages on AudioScienceReview, which completely debunk his points. The dilemma of stereo. It is a fundamentally flawed delivery system, and no amplitude panned phantom image created by sounds radiated by both loudspeakers can sound the same as or accurate as sound radiated by a single speaker. This is discussed at length in my book, starting with the obvious 2 kHz octave wide cancellation dip caused by acoustical crosstalk. When stereo is compared to mono listening, people were much more sensitive to loudspeaker faults in mono. Starting with stereo is the basic problem. 2 channels cannot replicate the performance space. Because there are only 2 channels, all of the images between the speakers, the phantom images, are double mono amplitude panned creations, resulting in acoustical crosstalk at the ears. Both speakers and reflections are delivering the same sound to both ears. There's an octave wide up to 10 decibel deep cancellation dip around 2 kHz in the direct sound for the featured artist in the center. Figures 7.1 and 7.2 in my book describe the horror story. For a credible front soundstage, we need at least 3 channels. Adding a credible ambience requires more. Stereo is a directionally and spatially deprived medium, and no amount of money or tweaking can get around it. The person you are masquerading at, such as Floyd Toole, who is actually an audio expert, is clearly stating that stereo speaker systems are dog shit, and he personally listens to like a 7.1 system at his house or something with upmixing applied because he realizes how bad stereo speaker systems are. And you idiots running around on Audio Science Review still coping that your speaker systems are good when you just have 2 channels and you're not even applying advanced crosstalk cancellation algorithms like Bach DSP need to get a grip on reality. Your stereo speaker systems are dog shit.